G'day, ladies and gents. We're coming to the end of another lazy Sunday. The sun is setting by the sea here on the old colony, so what better time for an episode of What's on My Fist? Today we're going to be talking about this lovely Rolex. It's a 116264 reference turnograph. That's a Datejust turnograph. It's not really a sports watch. It's not really a dress watch. It's kind of in between. It's a sports dress watch. And the reason for that is because it was introduced in 1953. Yeah, 1 year before the Sub-AL. And because of that, when those were introduced and they were launched as sports watch and science watch, and you're launching these watches for these professional activities, the turnograph, which looked almost identical to the Sub but was launched just before, well, it would kind of be a light, like a Sub light, kind of competing with the other models, and so they switched it up a bit and they made it into a little bit of a dress watch. They put some white gold bezel on it, and they made things a little bit more fancy. They added it to the Datejust line, slapped Datejust turnograph on the dial instead of just turnograph, and bingo, you had your first sports and dress model watch with a rotating bezel. So I don't know, this one is really cool. And oh, just as an aside, it's not for sale, so you can look but you can't touch. I just wanted to talk about this one because I really like this model a heck of a lot. Okay, this one here is one of the last turnographs made. It was made only a couple of years before it was discontinued in 2011. So yeah, we went from 1953 all the way till 2011, and then they halted production. So you can see this one, it was introduced in about 2000. And as such, it was one of the first ones that had the sort of super case type look, and the easy link bracelet that we see in all the Datejust, etc. today. You know, it had the solid end links. It has the very chunkier, the slightly chunkier case, and it looks every bit the part of the full-on modern watch. Yet it was introduced in 2000, so years before all of the other, ceramic subs, etc. This one has a white gloss dial. Let's see if we can zoom in on there. Wow, yeah, so it's got a really great white gloss dial. It's got white gold hands and indices, and the hands and indices have really fantastic detail. It's got a stainless steel case. This bezel on it here is bi-directional rotating, so you can time things with this bezel just as you can any dive watch. It's very useful if you're going to be doing anything like cooking or timing for your kids playing hide and go seek, or seeing how long it takes you to neck a beer, or whatever. Very, very, very useful. It's white gold, as we were saying, and just like the markers and the bezel, so it gives it a little bit of an extra pop when you see it in person. The bezel, actually, it really sparkles quite nicely. Another thing to remark about this model, which has the 3135 movement in, is that it has a red date wheel. It doesn't have a roulette date wheel like a lot of watches have. This one has got a red date wheel only in, and that's to go along obviously with the red accents on the dial and the lovely seconds hand as well. Now if you'd like to see a bunch of information on the turnograph, I'd like to recommend a site. It's you can search Timepiece Chronicle, a brief history of the Rolex turnograph. You can go to timepiecechronicle.com. I'm not affiliated with the site, but it's got a really good article on them, and you can find out all sorts of nifty facts, like how it was introduced in 1953 as the model 6202, replaced in 1954 as the model 6309. 6309 model. Ooh, hey, that sounds a lot like the Seiko fans will know that as a very famous diver's watch. That's where they started putting Datejust on the dial. They replaced it in 1959, and they this is around the same time, I believe, that the Thunderbirds started to adopt this model. So even though they intended it to be a sports dress model, well, it ended up occupying sort of this pilot sphere anyways, didn't it? It was then replaced, I believe, in 1959 to 1977, if I remember correctly from the article. And then and they fancied it up a little bit, and then they made it look a little bit more utilitarian from 1977 through to 2000. I think they dropped the turnograph on the dial for all that period of time. And then when this one came out in 2000, they added turnograph back onto the dial. They thickened up the case. They made it really funky. They made it really chunky. They gave you a whole bunch of different options. There was even one for Japan that had a green hand and a green date, and was in two-tone. They had two-tone models. They had black dial, blue dial, white dial, and yeah, some two-tones and special editions. And then all of a sudden, they canceled it. So this brings up the question, are they going to bring it back? What's going to be canceled soon? And what do you think is on the horizon for new pieces? I think that the turnograph might come back. For one thing, this one isn't priced very high for a discontinued model, especially for one that looks so great. And I often wonder if they're going to bring it back in the next couple of years, maybe invigorated with a new 70-hour power reserve movement, and give us something new to chew on. And I bet if they do that, then these might even start to see a little bit more interest come back again. Now, if you like the video, then you can you can subscribe. Please, you can follow us on Instagram at Real DAGAZ Watch, and you can check out our Facebook page if you like. And of course, you can visit www.dagazwatch.com to check out our watch parts and modded watches and our own production watches. I don't sell Rolex watches and high-end watches. I'm in the watch manufacturing business, and I sell my own watches and mod parts. So you can check that out too if you like that kind of thing. And catch you in the next one. Bye for now.